All right, guys, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us today for our listing panel. I'm Mary Atkins-Bell, your Market Center Administrator, and we've got our wonderful panelists, Raquel Bell, Brandon Scott, and Sarah Scott. And thank you, Sarah, so much for stepping in at last minute. One of our panelists was not feeling well, and so Sarah's going to be joining Brandon to talk about the sort of back office side of taking listings. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So Raquel, can you share a little bit about who you are and how long you've been with KW?
Well, hi everyone. I'm Raquel Bell. I have been with KW for 6 years in September. Prior to that, I was a stay-at-home mom and a special needs teacher, believe it or not. I love my babies.
Awesome, thank you. So we'll go to Brandon and then we'll go to Sarah.
Okay, that's me. Brandon with Scott Property Group at Keller Williams. And let's see, been in real estate, residential real estate now for 7 years and with KW for 5 of that. So we've got a little small team. My wife, Sarah, helps, obviously, is a big help. And we have Jessica on our team as well, and then a transaction coordinator and a virtual assistant. So that's our kind of our team.
Awesome, thank you. And Sarah, tell us who you are and what you do on the team with Brandon.
Okay, I'm Sarah Scott. I have been an agent for 4 years now, I think. And I've always been, since I joined Brandon, on the operations side. I would kind of get out and do showings and things like that, but I've never been like an agent out in the field, I guess you would say. So I came from a background of grant writing and research administration. So I'm a spreadsheets systems kind of girl.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So perfect. So we're going to get started with our first question, which will go to Raquel first. So how do you typically lead generate for listings?
Great question. Everybody kind of knows my story. Well, if you don't know, 95% of my business is actually referral based. So one thing that I do is I connect with my database weekly. I send out text messages, newsletters, and in this market, we have actually shifted to sending out text messages and emails of the buyers that we're actually looking for homes and what they're looking for, so that we can, if they know somebody that's looking to sell, that we can partner them with. So that is how I have been attracting listings at this time. So for me, it's just staying present on social media, making sure I'm communicating with them on social media via text message, phone calls, and emails.
Perfect. Awesome. And do you know off the top of your head, I didn't have this in question, how many listings you either have active or that you've taken so far this year?
So this year, I am actually up on listings. Typically, I'm about 60-40, where I'm 40% listing and 60% buyers. I'm actually opposite now, where I have more listings. So this year, yes, I have taken a little bit over 11, and we have 6 going live within by this Friday and next Friday.
Perfect. Congratulations. And you're an individual agent, correct?
Yes. And then we have about 25 in our pipeline that's to come.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
So Brandon and Sarah, how does your team lead generate for listings?
So our listings, we've done a lot of neighborhood marketing where we live. That's kind of how we've kind of built the business up and created that mind share here in our neighborhood that we live in. So we keep things relatively close by here in Cinco Southwest. Just by having the signs in the yard and being in front of people, we get calls from that. So our open house signs are out there in front of people. They're seeing our name everywhere and they think that we're, one of the only agents out here. So it kind of helps that people are calling us a lot of times for those listings. I'm also in a networking group, BNI, and so that's been helpful for us as well. There's about 60 business members in our particular chapter that help to send us referrals as well. So we stay in front of them as well. And then we recently signed up for Dave Ramsey ELP. I had signed up for that a long time ago and actually didn't really meet the qualifications, but that's been a good source of business so far as well.
So perfect. So what exactly is that for anybody on the call that doesn't know?
So the Dave Ramsey, that is a endorsed local provider, and they are looking for, you have to have been in business for a certain amount of time and do a certain number of transactions. It's funny, I think there's at least 3 of us out of our premier office that are also on there. So a lot of times we're competing with, people from the premier office for those leads that do come in, but they're actually very well qualified leads. It's not somebody just clicking on a Facebook ad or whatever. They're having to physically enter in, yes, I'm looking to sell, this is my address, and yep, what is the timeline, things of that sort. So it's actually, they're legitimate leads when they do come across.
Awesome. And how many listings have you had this year?
Let me pull the numbers here. I think we've taken 28, and then we have a few more coming on soon as well in the next month and a half.
Awesome. Perfect. Sarah, did you have anything that you wanted to add to what Brandon had shared?
I'll just add, one of the things we like to do is events. That's kind of how both Brandon and I are kind of quiet, I guess. So calling is tough for us. So inviting folks to an event is a much easier way to stay in touch with our sphere. Of course, that's been tough with COVID. So we're just now kind of starting to get back into things. We're planning like a movie theater family night out event for this summer and things like that. But that's definitely a way to, just get to know your clients better also and be genuine friends and kind of create I don't know, a lot of our clients become friends with each other because maybe they moved here from the same regions of the country, and then they get to know each other, and then they send you more referrals that way. So that's fun.
Perfect. So Sarah, could you share an example of a past event that you guys have done prior to COVID?
Sure. We have some standard ones set. Actually, we did host one last year in person. At the end of the year, we like to do something for everybody that bought with us. I know this is more listings, but we have all of our buyers come out to like Rustic Brush and build like hammer the palette together and then paint it and make something for their house. And also the movie theater event, we've done that before. We like to have an event out at the winery. Just, fun ways to get together with people. So.
Perfect. And what kind of, if an agent is looking to do events, what kind of cost would they expect to do something like that?
Well, look at your allied resources to help you out with that. And that's not just title and lender, broaden your sphere. So we talk a lot to like plumbers and electricians and dog groomers, anybody who owns a local small business who we support and they support us, they can help offset those costs. I mean, we try to keep nothing over $1,000 maybe out of our pocket, and that's for a higher cost thing. But we try to broaden the network and bring in as many people to help out with that as possible.
Perfect. So what I heard from Raquel was Raquel really grows her listings through referrals and past clientele, and Brandon and Sarah and the team, they kind of take a multifaceted approach, right? You've got the same thing where you're building through your referrals and your sphere, but you really farm your neighborhood and you've really made yourself a presence and very well known outside of events, and then being part of the Dave Ramsey group as well. So awesome. Thank you for sharing. So we're going to go into the next question. What creative ways are you using to get listings in the market of now? So we talked about some stuff that you guys already have done, but is there anything that you're having to do differently to get things sold in the market of now? And we'll go to Brandon first, and then we'll go to Raquel.
Oh man, yeah. So finding those listings now, I think the conversation has certainly shifted when we're talking with sellers. finding them again, a lot of times they're calling us, expressing interest. And then the thing we want to make sure of is, where are you going to? Because if they're not actually realizing kind of how the market is, and they could really get caught up in being homeless. So that's the last thing we want to do is, yeah, we can sell your home for top dollar, but like, where are you going to go? And so we've had a few people kind of hold off a little bit because we're helping to kind of coach them through and think about things. But, hey, if they're looking to turn a profit right now and that's the only thing in their mind, then sure, we can help with that. Again, the conversations have shifted quite a bit. I don't know if that answers your question totally or not, but
yeah. And so since homes, when you do take listings, aren't sitting on the market, is that affecting your business in other ways, or how is that kind of, because homes are selling so quickly right now?
Yeah, again, it's a total shift. Before, we were typically doing 2 open houses on a listing. When we would put it active, we would do it on Saturday and Sunday, both days. We're finding now, again, you're getting multiple offers on these listings. So having an open house on one day and then having a day to just comb through all the offers is really what you need. You don't need 2 full days of people coming through. We're still encouraging our sellers to get out of town for that first weekend that the home is listed, because otherwise it's just going to be a revolving door for the most part. And it's not fun to be there and have it constantly in and out. So we're encouraging them to get out and take their pets with them for sure, so that they can be ready for that. I guess as far as marketing, we have done a better job this year on consistently marketing and talking about our listings to our neighborhood sphere, especially on sending a just listed, and really it's a just sold postcard, because there's not even time to do it just listed. But we're putting the stats of that listing on there, saying, hey, this house had 50 open house visitors. It had 15 offers, blah, blah, blah. And I will say, like, for our little pocket neighborhood, we've been doing that very consistently this year. And we probably have had more houses turn over. And we're not getting all the listings. Not everybody's calling us. A lot of times they're calling the agent that they bought the house with, which is fine. But we've probably had more homes turnover this year already than any other year total. And again, it's just because we're in front of the people consistently on, hey, this is what's going on. And a lot of people are wanting to take advantage of that.
Awesome. So Sarah, I'm going to go to you. We have a question in the chat. So who does your team use to leverage the just sold postcards? What do they kind of look like? And what have you used in the past for that?
We just make them in command. Our assistant makes them, then we give them like a good once over before they go out, and we use command for pretty much everything we possibly can. So
Awesome. So are these actual printed postcards, or are they like a full sheet of paper that you fold in half and send it?
It's a glossy printed postcard, and it goes out, and since we live in the neighborhood, we get them, and so that looks nice. And it's we've gotten feedback from neighbors, and they'll take pictures of it and say, hey, we got your postcard. And so we were always worried about that before, if it would seem like a bother sending that stuff out. But it's been, I find people like more information than less.
So perfect. So the just sold postcards are really about getting information out, but it's also a way for you to lead generate for listings. Did you have something else you wanted to add, Brandon?
I will, sorry. So the other thing that we hadn't done previously until this year is sending a neighborhood flyer. It's just a piece of paper, again, with information on it. And we're paying a neighborhood kid to pass it out. So I forget how many we're up to now, but we've got a few sections covered that he's passing those out basically around the first of the month with stats from the previous month. And we've already for sure gotten 2 phone calls and listings directly from just that piece of paper. And it cost us all of maybe $300 for printing and then him passing them out. Honey, you would know better on the pricing.
Yeah, he's cheap. I pay him $150, and then it's not that much, because when we print them, it's just, we don't print them in color, so it's real cheap to print everything. It's probably more like $200 to get everything passed out, and we pass out around $800.
Wow. And so you said you've already gotten 2 calls out of an investment of maybe $200. That's awesome.
$200 a month. Yeah, we've gotten two 2 listings directly from that.
Oh, wow. So you've definitely, that was a good investment. Good,
An easy
good,
one.
good turnaround. So awesome. So perfect. So thank you guys for sharing. That was a lot of good information. So Raquel, what about you? What are some creative things that you're doing kind of in the market of now where it's a little bit crazy?
Well, it's a little bit repetitive because Brandon and Sarah, they pretty much do what I do. I send out letters. I don't do just sales, I do the letters. And I have my nanny who has extra time. I give them to her to fold and mail them. And I have definitely seen a return on that in a particular neighborhood that I have considered farming. I just have not made that a part of my business plan for this year, possibly next year. And so from that, I have received about 5 listings, and we actively send out about, our cost is about $300, and we send it out bi-monthly, not monthly. And then for me, is texting my database, to be honest with you. I communicate with them once a month, and I go through and communicate with about 50 of them per week. And that has definitely been able to help me stay in connection with my database and just have those conversations. Like Brandon said, hey, where are you going to go when you want to move? Because a lot of people want to take advantage of the market, but they don't know where they want to go.
Mhm.
And realistically, will they find or will they be homeless? And so we are too have been having those conversations of some of our clients wanting to wait until next year, or a listing appointment I have today, they want to go ahead and move into an apartment or rental and then purchase next year. So I use Canva. I don't use Command for ours. We use Canva to create our letters, and I mail them in black and white. We used to mail them in color, and we have not noticed a difference in return between black and white and color.
Perfect. So it's more about the information than the jazzing it up.
Correct.
Huh? So
Correct.
I have a question. You said that you text about 50 people a week. Are you doing that manually through your cell phone? How are you texting those people?
Great question. I used to do it, well, I still do it manually. However, we discovered that there is an app called Reach. On one of our amazing maps blog, they had it on there. So literally, you just import your message and you can set up groups and you just click through, and it takes me about 3 minutes to send out 50 text messages. What I love about the Reach app is that it comes from my phone number because it's on my phone. The issue that I had with Twilio with Command is that it literally will come from a different number, and I would not get the information. It will go into my data, on Kelly. So I would have to literally sit here and look at my computer to respond to people. And so the Reach app has been phenomenal because they're not getting confused. I literally had a couple of people ask me about buying and sent it through Command that I did not see. So the Reach app is, I think, $4.99, and it is definitely worth it. $4.99.
Perfect. And how do you keep track of consistently touching your database? Do you
Mhm.
use a special system, or how do you make sure that you're consistently touching them?
Great question. We use the DD2. Good Lord, that's a tongue twister. We use that system and we keep it on our calendar. So every week, like on Monday, I always get a reminder, okay, it's your F and Ks that you're calling today, or your A and Es. And literally, we already have everything downloaded from Command because we have set them up in Command that way so we can easily download them and put them in. And when we have an abundance, we separate them. So there'll be A&E1, A&E2, and that's how we work it.
Perfect. And for the people on the call that aren't familiar, what is DTD2?
That is the never ending referrals. And I highly recommend, if you're anybody that's like Brandon, Sarah, and myself, we are more relational based, because when you're relational based, you're not picking up the phone calling expired. You're touching, and I do events as well. So it's a great program where it teaches you how to reach out and systemize yourself so that you're touching everybody in your database through creative different ways. It could be through events. It could be, for example, Mother's Day. I typically do a nice touch to my mothers. It's a crazy system, so they might just get tip treats this year. So it's just a great program, and I live by it.
Perfect. Awesome. And DTD2 for anyone on the call, you can always get information from me. Also, it helps you consistently touch everyone in your database 4 times a year. So there's 26 letters of the alphabet, 2 letters per week. So every 13 weeks, you're touching everyone in your database. Perfect. Thank you. So we're going to go to the final question, which is the biggest question, right? And we'll go to Raquel first. What are the biggest challenges you're facing right now in the market with listings?
The biggest challenge is, drum roll please, there's not enough listings. That's the biggest challenge. And it's a lot of my sellers right now, they really don't, and I don't know, Brandon and Sarah, if you guys have this challenge, we really don't want to list our house yet. We want to find our house and then list. Well, you're a contingency and nobody's ever going to touch you. So are you willing to remove your contingency? Some of them are, some of them are not. And that has been, I feel, my biggest challenge of, just being creative and strategic and sitting down with my sellers and really mapping out a great plan for them. And that's why some of them have decided to let me sell high and let me rent. Rentals are becoming extremely creative. Nobody's doing year leases anymore. They want 2 to 3 year leases. Can you believe that? So that has been another challenge for sellers who are looking to take advantage of a buyer's market that's to come.
Perfect. And when you have sellers, because you've taken a lot of listings this year, how do you help your sellers know what offer to accept when you're getting all of these crazy overlist offers? How do you help your sellers navigate that?
I put everything. I have an Excel sheet that I use, and it lists everything about that offer, from all of the terms. And then also we look at, financing, right? Who is the lender? Is it a lender that we know? Is it, do we know this agent? Some of them is coming down to the agent and who the lender is. If that lender is picking up the phone and making that phone call, you have a lot of lenders right now that's not putting their clients through underwriting, and they're busting deals left and right. So, top agents, we're calling to see, hey, has this been put through underwriting? I have that quick look. So I would say, and I think Brandon and Sarah would agree, agents will working 18-hour days right now. And listings, yes, it's better to be on the listing side, but we're working harder than ever, even on the listing, because you got to navigate 30 offers. I literally just navigated 30 offers, calling 30 lenders, talking to 30 agents. I mean, it has been insane. And literally my clients, we look at all of them. I was at a client house till about 8 o'clock going over offers last night and what are the pros and cons, to give them enough information, because it's still at the end of the day who they would like to select as their buyer.
Perfect. Thank you. Brandon and Sarah, whoever would like to take on that, what are the biggest challenges that you guys or anybody on your team facing in regards to listings?
Yeah, not enough listings, like Raquel said, for sure. Love to see some more. The other couple things I would say is pricing the listings right now. It's really like you have to look at like what's happened in the last 30 days. Even in our little section, the comps just keep going up and up and up and up. And so we feel like we're pricing things at the top of the market, and yet we're still getting offers above that at times. So it's kind of a wild ride right now on pricing. And then the other thing is just with flaky buyers and flaky offers, you really, like Raquel said, you have to really do your due diligence on who's offering, following up with the lenders, like she said, and the agents. That just people are, the market is in such a frenzy, and buyers are just so desperate to find a house that, they're writing offers on multiple properties. I get it. My buyers have done the same thing. But you really have to watch that this is really the house that they're targeting, that they want to get. because we've had several where we have one right now, actually this week, that wrote a very nice offer well above the asking price. I was talking to my seller about it. We were really excited. We were just checking a few details, about to sign off on it. And then the agent called, we don't like this particular thing. Wow, great. So I've got to break that news back to my seller again. So it's a challenge right now with the buyers. And I understand it though, at the same time, because you have to move so quickly as a buyer that it can kind of create this panic, offer scenario where maybe they're offering on something they really, it's not their dream house, they're settling or what have you. And they're offering just to try to get something. And so that's causing a little bit of issue out there.
Awesome. Thank you. Sarah, what about you? What from the operations side of it, what challenges are you seeing?
I guess I would say with how fast things are moving, you need to have everything done and ready to go and compliant before it's listed. So before, where maybe I used to be a little lenient about, okay, your seller's disclosure isn't completed, I'll give you until the weekend. Like, no, I need it before, and I need it signed, and I need it correct. And we need to have these conversations like, what do you want excluded? What do you want included? What are your expectations? So that we can communicate that to the buyers, because that cuts down on the questions, the more information you can provide to buyers up front. So we have them do things like, what's your average utility bills? Just things about the neighborhood that people always want to know. So to help try and cut back on how many questions we're getting before the offers come in, we just try and give as much info as possible up front and make sure you have all of your documentation online on the MLS.
Perfect. So it's not about just taking listings, it's about also preparing to go through all of the offers that you're getting on your listings. So we've always talked in KW about through the MREA with leads, listings, leverage, right? And with listings, you would think that it's a huge leverage. Right now, you're still having to do a bunch of work with it as well. So awesome. So Raquel, I don't know if we lost her because I don't see her video anymore, but Raquel, Brandon, Sarah, what are some final thoughts or final tips that you'd like to share with everybody before we open it up to any questions? Raquel, would you like to go first?
I'll let Brandon go first, since I went first on the last round.
Go on, Brandon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Lease listings, just don't take those right now. I'm just kidding. Oh my goodness. We put a listing active 2,400 per month, and every person from California and New York is calling me just nonstop. And the house is currently occupied. Sorry, I'm like giving you a whole story just because I want to just talk about it.
Yeah. No, it'd be good. Share, please.
But yeah, the lease, lease listings right now, anything under, I would say probably 2,500 a month, like good luck with that. Just be ready to be on call 24/7 for those with people calling you trying to submit their application. So those are a hot item right now for sure. And I know Jessica, I saw she's on here. I know she's having fun. We actually had an open house at a lease listing just so we could let people pile through there and apply. So,
have you ever had to do that before? Have you ever had an open house on a lease? Wow.
Never. Jessica, how many people did you have?
It was between 12 and 15 families come through.
Wow.
So, yeah.
In the market now, you can do an open house on a lease and still get 12 to 15 people through it. That's unusual. Unusual.
Yeah, so if anybody wants some lease leads, we're happy to hand off a majority of those. We're not chasing them right now. So
awesome. Thank you. Sarah, what about you? Any tips or tricks?
I think just from, kind of watching things, it's just educating people on, especially your sellers. They're just curious. Everybody is aware it's a crazy market right now. But what does that actually mean for you? Like Brandon said earlier, where would you actually go? What are your plans? What do you expect to get from this? And just really educate your clients and yourself about what their expectations are. That way you can manage those expectations and do your best to meet them. So just educate.
Perfect. Thank you. And Raquel?
Mine will be still make time for your family in yourself, to be honest. It's really, Sarah's laughing. I know, girl. If I can pimp out my kids right now to go show some houses, I would. If only they were drivers. So just to know that you can manage. It's what, Sarah and Brandon said, it's just education, staying calm and helping them plan. We'll get through this. This is a crazy market and none of us like it. I don't know, every time somebody says, oh my God.
Oh, we lost your volume.
Right.
You muted. Oh.
What are you talking about? It's totally not a great market right now. Sorry, guys, my earpieces.
You
Guys can
muted it.
definitely manage. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So just hang in there, but self-care, because you need it. You will wake up. I told somebody I'm literally up at 5 a.m. and I don't go to bed until 12 because it's overdrive right now.
Perfect. Thank you. So Brandon, you had mentioned something earlier, and there's going to be a lot of newer agents and middle producing agents on this call that are probably looking for those leads. As a top producer, how would an agent come to you and provide value to you or be able to partner with you to help you during this time? What are some things that you would be looking for in an agent if they came to you and said, hey, I'd love to host an open house for you or do some of your leads? What would your team be looking for?
Yeah, we would be looking for somebody that has some experience. If this is your first time doing an open house, like you need to have some help there. There's way too many people coming through and asking questions. So, and we're obviously looking for somebody that's going to be a good representation of us because it's our name on the sign. Again, when we put the sign in the yard, we're marketing for buyers and listings around that house. So it's a big deal. And that's a lot of times where we keep our stuff in-house. Jessica helps with the open houses. Sarah has to jump in there and do them on occasion. So, but there are times where, we may need help. Again, with those leads that are coming in, we told Jessica she's not expected to chase after those. So again, if somebody's looking for lease leads or needs some business there, we're happy to forward those along to somebody. Just let us know and good luck.
Thank you. Raquel, what about you as someone who's a top producer? What are the things you're looking for if you need the leverage or if a new agent is wanting to partner with you to host an open house? What are the things that they need to do?
I definitely, I let a lot of people host my open houses. I am very picky. I meet with everybody. I do have them at least shadow me. So the first time you host an open house, you are hosting with me because like Brandon has said, my reputation, because they look at signs and they send their neighbors to see how good an open house is doing. I do have a list of what you have to do. So for my listings, you got to be on time. You got to be there at least 30 minutes early. Your signs have to be out. And if you don't have any signs, I will arrange to have our signs out. So I have a lot of criteria that I go through. And I have a special Facebook page of people who I utilize to, I'm sorry, guys, my maids are here. Sorry, they came early. Leverage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a Facebook group of people who have worked my open houses. And if you're invited, you're the first to know there. And then I reach out to the market center from there.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you guys. I think this was incredibly valuable. I learned quite a few things about listings and about the market now. So if anybody's got any questions for any of our three panelists, go ahead and either unmute and ask your question, or you can type it into the chat and I'll read it out.
Yeah, I will start with the first question. First of all, I would like to thank you very much, guys. You are amazing. Thank you for all the information you provided so far. So one of my first questions, the first thing the seller will start talking about is the commission. So I would like to know how you guys handle commission negotiation.
Perfect. Who would like to take that? Raquel, Brandon, Sarah? Brandon, go ahead.
So in the past, I was a lot more firm with commissions and really didn't negotiate at all on commission. Now that we've kind of built the business up to what it is, and I would hold firm to if you're a new agent, because you don't want to get the reputation out there that you're a discount agent, or, hey, you did this for so-and-so, so will you do that for me? You really have to watch that. So there are special circumstances when we'll do it. For example, right now we have a seller client that they didn't ask me for it, but I'm basically just covering the cost of our photos and marketing for a listing. He's a veteran. They sold and bought with us before. They're selling and buying with us again. They've sent us multiple referrals. They're owed something, in my opinion. So we're basically doing that one as a freebie on their listing. So there are times when we'll do things like that. But again, you have to use your discretion. And, for the most part, the people that have asked for a discount, I'll share with you, are the ones that end up being a pain in the butt, is the reality. So and maybe you don't want to work with that person if that's their only question they have.
Perfect. Thank you. Raquel, did you have anything you wanted to add to Nazar's question?
Yes, I would definitely say you have to be confident. If you go in and you know your stats, and Mary is awesome, she'll tell you, I come in her office all the time looking for the market center stats, and I'm all about the numbers. So when you present and you come in confident, I don't typically get those questions about reduction. Now that I have grown my business, I do agree with Brandon that yes, there are repeat clients that I do discount on something on either their sale or their new purchase. But it's just being confident and knowing your worth and knowing how much, because I can guarantee you Brandon is right. When you reduce your commission, you work so hard. And it was a tip that my sponsor had told me, Troy Kelly, a very long time ago, Raquel, trust me, if you discount, you work harder. And all of the ones that I did, I worked my tail off for very little. So just be confident. There's a lot of different scripts that they have that you can utilize, and just remember and just walk in there with a lot of confidence.
Thank you. Nazar, did you have another question, or was that?
It's related to the same question. So I just would like to know how much is the minimum percentage you are doing right now in this market?
Like I said, the minimum I've ever done is that particular seller we have right now, where again, we're just covering basically the photos and marketing. But otherwise, yeah, having a listing, it does cost money. So that you have to really be careful of, that you're not going to end up losing money on the deal. So, yeah.
What's some typical expenses that you pay for if you take a listing, Brandon?
So we have a stager that a lot of times comes through and does a consult. So you'd be out that money. The cost of photos, that could include, aerials or a video. It could include a Matterport 3D tour, sending out the just listed, just sold campaign, Facebook advertisement. What else do we do, honey? I'm cheap. I place my own signs. I know there's companies that can place signs for you. I do it myself. I kind of like putting the sign in the yard. It's like planting the flag. So
that's Brandon's favorite, because he likes it when cars honk at him and wave at him. He's like, hey.
Yeah. Putting out open house signs, I don't mind putting them out myself, because half the time people are waving and honking at me. So I think it's kind of fun.
We try and do as much in-house as possible to keep our expenses low and keep the business as profitable as possible. But yeah, we, other than get a good photographer, invest in a good photographer, because that's how people, it's how you represent your business. I recommend that.
Perfect. Raquel?
Know your costs on the photographer. So I know on any of my listings, because I use mail and I do high definition HDR. And so on my luxury listings, I'm spending about $700 on my photos, but it shows. It works because my listings sell pretty quickly, and it's something that I have built into my plan. Starting out, you don't have to spend that much. Just mail has a great, regular package at $135 that will still outshine all others. I use a stager as well for my consults. And for me, one thing that I do different is we do a lot of staging, where we bring furniture in, especially when the home is dated. I definitely show my clients the worth in selling as is, or putting a little bit of money into it and staging so that people can feel like this is their home so that you can get top dollar. So if you want to see me in the office, I'll go over that plan with you and how I present it to my sellers.
Perfect. So one question, this is a quick question, then we've got a longer question. Who do you use for your signs, that makes your signs?
Our panel signs for like the yard for sale, those are Jack Pratt, and you can customize designs with them. And then our open house signs we had made through D signs, DEE signs.
Perfect. Raquel?
I used to build a sign. I met them at our family reunion, and they give us a very good discount for KW agents, and I've been very pleased with them. They make my panels as well as my open house directional sign.
Perfect. And then the longer question is, with the touches to your sphere of influence, do you use scripts or do you use topics or individualized touches? What is the subject when you're calling them or texting them?
Mine is normally around my events. So if you guys go to my Facebook page, I do a ton of events and I do a ton of giveaways. So my typical response or text to my database when I don't have that going is just, hey, it's Raquel. I just want to see how you're doing. How's everything going? How are the kids? Like literally it's completely conversational. They normally ask me, well, how's the market? I was thinking about this, and then we get into the real estate conversation. Outside of that, it's always, hey, did you check your email? Did you see? I mean, come on, I'm giving away a Tiffany necklace, girl. You didn't sign up for this? Or I'll call the husbands and say, oh my God, we have this amazing staycation. You need to get on there and go ahead and get into your name so you can win for Debbie. That's how I keep it up. And literally, they just think that I'm touching them. It's not about real estate at all. So that's how I have decided to do it. It's more around marketing based and making sure, like we just did a client appreciation event this past weekend. It was a Saturday and Sunday where we had everybody come out and do family photos, and they had their own private session with one of my photographers, because one of my touches is I send out a family card for Christmas for the new year. And everybody always says, oh my God, your pictures are so beautiful. Who do you use? Well, it's Cassandra. And so when they saw that it was her doing it, our sign up went bonkers. And one tease that we did was we sent it out to our VIP clients first. And those VIP clients are people who send us a ton of referrals and who does a lot of repeat business. So they got first dibs, and then it went out to the rest of the database. It was so big that we're actually adding another weekend.
Awesome. Very cool. Brandon, Sarah?
Yeah, we when we chat with folks, it's not a script. It's similar to Raquel. It's calling to invite you to a party or an event. Also, whenever like during the ice storm, when we did have signal, because we didn't have signal through much of it, we just went through and checked on everybody. How you doing? How are your pipes? Are you okay? Do you need anything? There's been lots of opportunities over the last year, especially to just reach out and, hey, how's it going? It's been a tough year for everybody. Just want to check in and see how life is and things like that. So it's all very either conversational, care calls, or come to an event and hang out with us.
Perfect. Did you want to add anything, Brandon, or did Sarah get it for you guys?
No, that's it.
Perfect. And so one more question. I know we briefly mentioned it, but how much do you typically spend on pictures? Is it variable depending on price point of the property, or is it pretty standard across all of your listings?
Was that question about listings or about the event I just did? I just saw it pop up.
That's a great question.
Anna, is that about?
Let's see if she types.
Anna, you want to unmute yourself?
Your event. Sorry, your event.
Okay. Because I work with Cassie so much, she blessed us and did $75 a family, and we did 4 pictures per family. So a lot of my families loved it because they got a family picture and then they got to update their personal picture for their LinkedIn page. So I was really grateful for that. So our budget, this was our most expensive one, was $3,000. However, I planned for this, and Mary would tell you back in September, it was already in my marketing budget. You do not have to spend this amount. This is just where I'm at with my business now. But that money has always been set aside, and I have proven just from this event, I've already got $2 million in referrals, guys. So it works for me, and I'm okay with spending that on my clients. But just know that it's baby steps.
Yeah,
I
so
would say,
go ahead,
I'm sorry. No, go ahead, Mary.
I was going to say, well, what would be an example for the newer agents on the call? What is an event or something that when you got started, what is something that would be a good event to kind of kick off if they're wanting to do that?
I think a good kickoff is to do a right up there where we did our pictures, which is at the brewery. They do the food trucks. So you can have your clients come out, you can partner with 2 vendors, and you can do 1 drink on you. Our other event that was very simple was we did king cake giveaways. That was one of my first events, and I think it was about $250. And then the next event we did was our movie theater. You can partner with the Alamo Draft House, and it's very inexpensive if you go in with it with another agent. And then you typically have more sponsors that way. And I believe the cost that Tracy and I split was about $500. So we did $250 each. And we had at least 30 guests apiece.
Awesome. Brandon, Sarah, did either of you have any suggestions for that question?
I'll say one of our more, I'll call it grassroots events that we like to do is after school, like a last day of school party for the kids in the neighborhood, because also that's where we farm and we have kids and all their friends. So we get like a little ice cream cart and then water balloons and all in the, I mean, it's maybe like $500 or something like that. We go kind of crazy on the water balloons because the kids go nuts, but you know, that's just a really fun one. And it's not necessarily a, you know, hey, we're going to take your information, but they remember it. And those parents like really, they appreciate it and they remember you doing that. And the kids think it's fun and they look forward to it. So that's something we like to do for the neighborhood.
Perfect. And there's one last question. This is from Brandon. How do you handle the commission objection? What do you tell your clients if they say, hey, I would like you to give me a discount? What can you do for me? What do you say back to them?
Usually like what's important to you about that? You know, why do you need that? Or what you have to get to the kind of the bottom of why they're asking for it. So.
Perfect. So just asking a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Nazar, you have another question?
Yeah, one of the farming tool you mentioned, Brandon and Sarah, that this is the postcard. So what kind of information will be on those postcards? Is it something related to the current market or something out of this?
Yeah, so here, I don't know if, Mary, can I actually share a screen or no?
I can probably make it where you can. Yes, if you give me just a minute.
Here, let me see if I do it. Share.
I'm going to make you co-host.
There you go.
Yes.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is our postcard right here. I don't know if you can see the whole deal. So this is obviously in command, and we just modified it. It's got our logo on there, and then we brag about the stats. So this is basically a just listed, just sold postcard that we do. Again, the cheaper alternative to doing that would be sending out the flyer, is what I would call it, the monthly flyer, and passing that out and putting it on the doorstep. That's your cheapest alternative, and that's had a better return than just the postcard going out. That's what I would consider doing first if I were you.
Perfect. Thank you.
And we don't actually door knock. So we're not actually knocking on the door, talking to folks right now. It's just to put it in their, put it on the doorstep.
We've only had one person tell us out of 800 to stop sending me things. Okay, man, no problem. It saves me money.
You probably wouldn't want him as a client anyways. Perfect. So any other questions?
I have the last question, I promise.
Perfect.
Okay, so I have listed my first listing since I joined the real estate. Business.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So we have started receiving too many showing requests starting today. So we may start receiving offers like today or tomorrow. So I would like to know, guys, how do you evaluate the offers you receive?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, awesome job on a listing and a lot of showings already. That's perfect.
Thank you.
So yeah, use that, leverage that to get other listings around there, like we're talking about. You need to go brag to the neighbors about what you did with that listing. But yeah, as far as evaluating the offers, I think like Raquel mentioned, you're going to need to make a spreadsheet and compare everything on there. Basically all the details of the offer. How much cash are they putting down? How much are they financing? How much is the option period? How long is it? Are they asking for seller contributions? Are they asking for a home warranty? Who's paying for title? All those things need to be spelled out. So, again, right now we're seeing buyers offering to pay for the owner's title policy. Typically, that's something the seller pays, but we're getting a lot of competitive offers where they're offering to pay that. So you have to make sure you're paying attention to that. And then, again, talking about the cash and, making sure they have a pre-approval letter and that you're talking with the lender. They don't have a house to sell first. Is there an appraisal waiver? If they are waiving the appraisal, do they have the cash to back that up? So there's a lot of considerations you're going to need to take into account with that spreadsheet.
Perfect. And then just a little bit of clarity for the objection handling question. What do you say? Would you be willing to walk away? What would you say to someone if they said, well, I'm not going to list with you unless you do it for 1%?
A 1% discount or 1% total? Those are two different things, obviously.
Either way.
So yeah, again, you have to make a business decision whether it works for you or not. That's ultimately what it is, Dean. So you'll have to figure that out. Again, in my experience, the people that are asking for that are the ones you're going to work way harder for. And so at this point in my career, if that was their main objection, I would probably let them, unless it was a listing that I really, really wanted, I would probably let them go ahead and pick somebody else.
I've actually let somebody walk. My husband was like, what? It's a $500,000 listing. What are you talking about? Here's the thing. It's about selling a house, right? We want to do what's right. And you have, I'm sorry, Brandon, were you done? I just kind of dove on in there, friend. Sorry. It's all about that conversation of what Brandon said. What's important to you? Because, if it's a $300,000 listing, it's $2,000. So if I can show you a way that we can drive up more offers to get you more money, right? Let's price it right. Let's do the right things so that we can get you here. So what is that driving? Once you typically know what that driving factor is, you can overcome any of the objections. And so for me, this one time that I literally said, okay, I don't want the listing, I walked away because another agent was going to list it for 1%. It was a challenging floor plan, so it needed to be staged, it needed to be painted, and they didn't want to do it. They didn't see the value. And so literally 2 weeks later, the person called me and said, you know what, after I really sat down and listened to this other person, they did not know what they were talking about. They didn't understand this market. In Katy, they were another agent from Missouri City. So at the end of the day, it's just knowing your stuff and being able to walk away. But like Brandon said, it's a business decision for you. I was at that point that I was okay, and I had enough business that I was able to walk away from it.
Perfect, thank you. And there was a question, is there a spreadsheet that you can share for me for offers and evaluations, please? Jason said he has one. If you have one that you don't mind sharing, if you would actually email it to me at the KRL 82, I'll share it on our Facebook forum and I'll email it out to everybody because I'm sure that would be something that agents would find valuable. So I'd really appreciate that. So any other questions? So I just want to say thank you so much to our phenomenal panel, Brandon and Sarah Scott. Thank you for jumping in last minute, Sarah, for Raquel Bell. I felt like I learned something today, and hopefully you learned something today. And look for our next panel. These are going to be monthly. So look and see. Yes, Dean says thank you, Raquel, Brandon, and Sarah. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
You guys are so welcome. Y'all know how to reach us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.